Hey, it's Mel. A few weeks ago, I asked you guys to post your OCs on my community tab, all for the sinister plan of drawing them in my style. That's what y'all get for getting me to 5,000 subscribers. Thank you very much, by the way, I appreciate it. There were quite a few characters that you guys submitted, and all of them were really cool, but I only had time to do 5, and you guys made it super difficult for me to choose. But the first one I went with is this water mage character by Ruth. Her name is Stell, and I absolutely love her color palette and the sea-themed design. The beads and everything looked really fun to draw, so she's the first one that I drew. I wanted to lean on her water maginess, so I drew her underwater. I'm not sure if she can breathe underwater, but I just think it looks cool. I started off with some thumbnail sketches, figuring out what pose I wanted to go with and the composition and all that. And once I land on one that I'm happy with, I blow that up to the size of the canvas and use that as my guide. Because I'm not gonna be fully rendering it or anything, this next layer that I'm sketching on is what I'll be using for the final piece. So I make sure that it's not too messy. At this stage, I'm making sure that I'm happy with the shape of the body and the head first, before I go in and add the face and the hair and all the clothing. I always feel like drawing is like carving stone or something, you know? Starting with defining the biggest shapes first, and then like chiseling down the littler details as you go. Though I don't focus too much on the tiny little details, because you guys know I'm more of a bigger picture kind of artist, which comes and bites me in the ass sometimes, but I just enjoy it. For the coloring of this one, I wanted her to be lit from above, so most of her body will be covered in shadow. I put a multiply layer over the whole drawing, and then carved out where I think the light would be hitting. I don't worry too much about being accurate to real life or anything though. I'm just looking for something that looks right and feels good to look at. Then I go in and highlight some parts that is really gonna be shiny, like her hair and her seashell bra. I think it looks really good all shiny like that. For the finishing touches, I add a little bit of water effect on the top of the canvas so it looks like she's underwater. And I also added the water effects on her upper half, like her face and her shoulders and stuff, so it looks like light is filtering through the water. This was a really fun one to do. I hope Ruth likes this depiction of their character as much as I do. Next up, I'm drawing Lorelei, a character by Lucifer. I always see Lucifer in the comments of my videos, so thank you so much for always supporting my silly little videos. They also submitted another beautiful character, but I went with Lorelei because I don't think I've ever drawn someone with vitiligo before. Is that how you say it? Wait, vitiligo. According to Google, it's vitiligo, so I'll go with that. But yeah, I don't think I've ever drawn someone with vitiligo before, and I think her color scheme and design is so pretty. I went with a bust up for this one because I wanted to really focus on the vitiligo on her face, and also so that this video doesn't take too long to make, I had to keep some of these a little bit more simple. I love that she has just one antler, at least I think that's what that is, and there's like little flowers just underneath the antler. I only add that at the very end, but I think those little flowers really kind of ties her design together in terms of the color distribution across her whole body, you know what I mean? I've only recently started to use the add layer property. Usually when I do highlights, I go with screen layers instead of add, but I think I've thoroughly been converted now. Screen is great, but I love how when you use add, depending on the opacity of the brush you're using, you either get a very bright like white color, or you get like a nice saturated glow that you can put around a character. I think that glow really made this piece feel finished to me. Here's what the final thing looks like, and I hope you like how I drew your character here. Next up is this character by Dara. They didn't give me a name for the OC, but look at how cute she is. Since there were some tropical and beachy kind of imagery on the reference sheet, I drew her on the beach. I enjoy drawing her messy hair a lot. I think I made it a little bit longer than what it looks like in the reference picture, but I just love drawing hair resting on the ground like that. I think it gives you like a sense of perspective. There's just something about it that tickles my brain. I just love doing that whenever a character is sitting on the ground. The colors for this one was a little bit tricky to me. I wanted her to be under the umbrella, so obviously she would be shaded from the sun, but I didn't want her to be so in shadow that it's hard to see her features and all that. I'm still not 100% happy with it. There's a lot of light colors here, and I feel like I could have pushed the levels a little bit further, but I still think the character looks really cute, so I'm not too mad about it. Same as Stell from the first drawing, I put a multiply layer above all her colors, but this time instead of erasing for where the light would be, I painted them in with an add layer on top instead. Yeah, I don't really have one set way of doing things. It really depends on what I want the end results to look like and whatever I'm in the mood for, to be honest. Thank you, Dara, for submitting your character, and I hope I did her justice. Next, I drew a furry character. Oh my goodness! This is Patch, a digital circus OC from Katsuki Bakugo, who I also always see in my comments, so thank you so much for the support. This peat paint is gonna go by super quickly because this one came really easy to me somehow. I absolutely love this type of edgy character design. I think they're super fun to draw. I wasn't really sure what animal Patch was supposed to be, but I hope it still looks like him even if I got it wrong. I knew from the beginning that I wanted a red background for this, so I made sure the shading was a reddish color so it looks like the shadows are getting that color from the environment. Once I finished the coloring, I felt like the whole thing looked kind of too clean, so I used an overlay layer with a reddish color and added some strands all around his fur, just to give it some different hues and make it look a little bit more interesting. And after a little rim light, it's done! I hope you like how this turned out. I think it looks pretty cool. And last but not least, I drew Strya Berry by JV Doodles. This character design is so cute. It gives me the same feeling that Strawberry Shortcake does. I love it. JV Doodles said feel free to change her outfit, so I didn't follow the reference as strictly as the others. I used it as like a guide and changed little bits of it. For example, I added the yellow strawberry seeds to her top, which I think looks really cute. Also, note the sleeves that look like upside down strawberries. That's definitely one of my favorite changes. I ended up coloring this one sunset-y colors, and there was no really particular reason for it. It just came from me playing around with the colors and seeing what looks nice, and I think this turned out really cute. I hope you like it as much as I do, JV. Thank you so much everyone for providing me your characters and for subscribing and for all the support. I feel bad for not being able to draw everyone's OCs, but maybe I'll do this again in the future for another milestone. This was so much fun to do and it's getting me really hyped for artfight. Oh, which reminds me, I need to do some artfight prep and it's like 2 weeks away, so yeah, I'm gonna go now. Thanks for watching. I'll go edit this video now and I'll see you when I see you. Bye bye!